I were to say to you, old Jack, new Jack, old Laura, new Laura, are you mugging me off? I'm loyal me. Would any of that make any sense? Would it ring any bells? If it does, it means you are a fan of Love Island, or at least you've caught it. It's been on whilst you've been in the vicinity. I have admitted it before on the show. I do like Love Island, and I know it's slightly naff, but I think that's why I enjoy it quite as much as I do. Last night was a good episode, because actually, if I'm really honest, I don't think this series has been as good as previous years. It's a little bit contrived. You watch it, you think, oh, it's a little bit fixed, that. But then it is reality TV. What do you expect? Last night, however, it was lie detector time. So this is where the female islanders get to write tough questions that their partners have to then answer whilst hooked up to the lie detector. And it's fair to say, old Jack, new Jack, and Dr. Alice failed. Dr. Alex even failed to impress their other halves. However, some are now speculating that perhaps the lie detector is fake. Former contestant Katie McDermott wrote a tweet last night which implied that perhaps it is, well, not strictly true. You might call it artifice. You might call it faking it to make the programme better. I don't know. What I can say is that we have spoken to the producers at ITV. They have confirmed that it is a genuine lie detector test. But how accurate are these things anyway? Jason Hubble joins me. Jason is from Lie Detectors UK. So Jason, hello. Am I right in saying then it is your job to carry out lie detector tests on people?
Correct, it is. I've probably run over 3,000 polygraph tests in the UK in the last 5 years. I'm a qualified examiner.
So what sort of people come to you then looking for this service?
70% of what we do, Alison, is infidelity based. So
thought it might
testing
be
you for your partner.
Right, gosh, and it surprised me that people would be up for that. I mean, I can understand the suspicious party wanting to do the lie detector thing, but why does the other partner agree, particularly if they have been cheating? I guess they think they can get away with it, they can fool the test.
Some people do. Many people come to us though, Alison, because they want to prove their innocence. And a proof of innocence test we love. You've got no other way. Let's say you were out on a works Christmas party, you know, and you didn't come home before the small wee hours. Couldn't
there
prove
was that
where
one
you'd
year.
been. Yeah, it's happened many times.
I'm
Christmas,
joking.
we're always busy. We're always busy at Christmas.
Yeah.
And you know, that suspicion is potentially driving your relationship. You know, it's splitting you up. And once a partner gets that thought in their head, or if a partner's been cheated on in the past, then they're always looking for something in a relationship.
But even if I were the innocent party, though, and I wanted to do this to prove to my partner that I was telling the truth, there would still be that little bit of worry at the back of my mind thinking, well, how do I know that this test is going to work? How do I know that it's accurate? What if I really am innocent? What if I really am innocent and this thing says I'm lying?
Everybody comes to us with that, and the first thing we say when I talk to people is, you'll be very nervous. And intelligent people overthink things as well. They sit there when we are testing them thinking, I'm putting my relationship, my life in a machine here. You know, and you mentioned earlier accuracy levels. Well, a single issue polygraph test is anywhere between 92 to 98% accurate. We've now got more government polygraph examiners in this country than we have private examiners. But coming back to Love Island, I'm going to drop the bomb here. It's complete fake.
Oh, well, as I said, though, ITV say they have confirmed that it is a genuine lie detector test. Are there different types of polygraph tests? Could it be that the one you do is just different from the one that they have used on the Islanders?
They may have purchased something off eBay. They may not have been. Whoever the examiner was would need to be a qualified examiner would need to have studied in America, qualified, and done a certain amount of tests, and he or she is then checked regularly. A polygraph test from start to finish takes 2 hours. And on that test, we are testing 3 questions on a single issue, so a single issue on infidelity. It has to be done in a neutral environment by a neutral person. Certainly, the stress on the show yesterday and having your ex-partner ask questions, it will blow any type of accuracy level out of the water. You also need, and here's the big kicker here, you also need a question. It's a directed lie test, so we are asking them to lie to us on a question. You need a comparison question. You need to compare that reaction. Just asking people random questions on a polygraph does not work because you've got nothing to compare it against.
How did you get into this line of work?
Me, I was in forensic IT for 20 years. The government did a 5-year study on polygraph and finally put a rubber stamp to say, yes, it works. And that's when everything took off for the government. I jumped in on the private level, because then when people say to me polygraph doesn't work, you've then got many stats that you can throw back to them. I mean, the accuracy levels that I quoted you for a single issue test, there have been thousands and thousands of studies backing that up. It works too well at times, almost like opening Pandora's box.
So why don't the police use it? Why isn't this not used in courts of law?
They do, and they do. A lawyer is looking for... I'll come back to your first question about the police. They do. We've got over 20 policemen at the moment in this country working with a polygraph.
Really?
They're testing terror suspects. Yep. Started off 4 years ago in the Yorkshire Police Force. A trial. It's been rolled out nationwide now.
I didn't know that.
We have over 20 examiners working for the probation service. They're testing sex offenders on probation. They've put back into prison, I understand the last count was 17% of the people that they're testing.
But it wouldn't be legally binding, would it? I mean, if you did if you sat someone to do one of these polygraph tests and it came up they were guilty, you couldn't go to court with that as evidence, could you?
It's an interrogation tool, and it's how the examiner will then interrogate to find out why that person's failing. So it is an interrogation tool. Love Island, whatever the producers are saying, complete fake, complete scripted. The questions, you can't test on intent, you can't test on emotion, you test on fact.
I guess in their defence, though, they're trying to make an entertainment programme. So, a little bit of artifice may at times be used to create a little bit of drama. I mean, how dramatic, though, is it in real life? I mean, if you're sat there and someone's come to you and, it is about their relationship and their suspicions that their partner's been cheating on them, I mean, how do you then go about breaking that news that, I'm sorry, you were right, your other half is a liar?
It's horrific. It's the worst part of my job. It's lovely when people pass, and fortunately 75 to 80% of the people that we're testing do pass a polygraph test. So they're in the majority. We always say to people, it's not the Jeremy Kyle show.
No.
Not the Jeremy Kyle show, and it's about getting things right. It's about the pre-test. We spend an hour talking to the people beforehand to make sure there's nothing that could invalidate our polygraph test, nothing that they could fail. For instance, I'm testing a man for infidelity, but he went to a strip club 2 weeks ago with his friends on a stag do. We don't want that to get in the way because that could cause him to fail a polygraph test. So we cover everything. It's the examiner's skill as well as the equipment and the techniques we use, which is why on lie detector, why on Love Island I did have to laugh when the equipment was nothing like what we use in the real world.
Oh, really?
That was the kind of stuff you buy off eBay, unfortunately.
There was a moment as well, I don't know if you spotted it, where it buzzed and Wes hadn't even been hooked up to the equipment. Yeah,
I think at that point I turned off. I was getting quite upset with it because people are believing it, and this is the third interview I've done today. People are believing it. We're seeing the Love Island effect. I've had 3 calls today, couples that I want to ask 20 questions to my partner.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I mean, it was annoying you, but it's going to bring you some business, I reckon, because people are going to watch that and think, hang on a minute, I want to find out what happened to that Christmas do. I'm going to call Jason. Do you ever have people bolt at the last minute, where you've got someone who has agreed to do it and then you're just about to do it and they go, actually, no, I've changed my mind?
Yes.
Really?
20% of my tests cancel at the last minute. I always talk to people on the phone. I will never just take a booking. We talk to people on the phone first to make sure it's suitable for them. And I always say to people, if you've got something to hide, don't take the polygraph test. I'd much rather test you and you pass. You know, polygraph works. It is very accurate. Statistically, you'll be shocked at this. It's more accurate than DNA and fingerprinting, because of the flaws in the collection of evidence there.
Are you sure? I feel like I should put you on a polygraph test and make sure what you're telling me is actually
It's
fact.
true. It's true. It really is. It's true. But then, of course, I would say these things, because I'm a proponent of polygraph. I see it. I use it every day. You know, it works. We test people. It really does. It's a very powerful tool, you know. It pushes people back together, or it pushes them apart. It really does.
Tricky one that, though, isn't it? Calling the lie detector man and cancelling your appointment, because you can't make it up, because you'll know. Without the polygraph, because you have been doing this for so long now, can you kind of tell anyway whether someone is telling the truth or not? I mean, I would like to think that I would know if Paul were lying to me without the need for a polygraph test, because he's the world's worst liar. And I imagine you must get quite adept at working out who's telling the truth and who's not.
Do you know what I used to play games in my head when clients would come in? You know, we'd chat to them, I'd run through everything, and I'd pass fail. I'd play these games, and many times people have got, you know, I've got it wrong in my head, and the polygraph has got it right. I stick to the facts. I stick to what I see. You know, often people say, "What do you think? Are they going to pass?" I don't know until I've tested them, until we've run 4 polygraph reports on them. You know, 4 polygraph tests. I'm afraid on them and run through everything. No, I don't play those games, because the things people do, you can pick up on your partner because you've been with him long enough. You can pick up on the subtle nuances. You know, where he looks away, where he giggles, where he goes slightly red. Maybe he looks to the left hemisphere of the brain to make things up. You can pick up on those things, but there's no common denominator that anyone else can, and it's because you've been with him long enough.
So you can't cheat the lie detector test, in your opinion?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There are many things you can do, but they are all very, very obvious.
Like what?
the most common we see is people trying to manipulate their breathing. I had a chap last week. Really, he tensed in the chair, wouldn't stop tensing. He was trying to manipulate his blood pressure. And interestingly enough, you know, failed his polygraph test, and then went on to make admissions, and it was my record in 5 years. 13 ladies in a year.
13? Wow! How do people find the time?
And to which his partner, very lovely couple actually, to which his partner said, I'm off down the clinic to get tested. And I think she signed the message off with, "Thank you for saving me from a lifetime of misery."
Oh God!
They weren't married, and there were lots of signs. She had picked up lots of signs. He was very secretive. There were lots of things there.
Women. Very quickly, just before you go, Jason, I don't know about your personal life, but if you were in a relationship and your partner asked you to do one of these polygraph lie detector tests, would you?
If I didn't have anything to hide, of course I would. If I had something to hide, I'd run a mile.
Jason Hubble from Lie Detectors UK.
Thank you.